obviously in your bio, I touched on your brain tumour.
Mm-hmm.
So you were actually misdiagnosed twice.
Yeah, so I was misdiagnosed with middle ear. So so basically for a very long time would have been about 6 months, I was going to training, sort of like vomiting all the time. And I was like, why am I vomiting at every single session? And then headaches started. And then I started noticing I'd walk through a door frame and just kind of like smack the door frame. And I'm like, why can't I just walk through a door? Like, why is this so hard? The headaches got quite persistent and they kind of like progressively got a lot worse. And then mum was like, yeah, we'll take you to the GP. Went to the GP and they said, yeah, it's middle ear, here's your meds, off you go. Didn't do anything. So then mum took me to a sports physician. He then also said middle ear. And then in that moment, mum was like, it's not middle ear. I think in that moment, mum said now she thought it was a brain tumour because she actually watched her uncle die of a brain tumour and noticed the similar symptoms. So that was fun. I mean, I was 19 and I was like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Like, it's okay. Nothing bad's going to happen to me. Next thing you know. Yeah, into brain surgery. So yeah, that was very fun.
So at what point through your sporting career, because you were obviously training for the Olympics, so when that arose, at what point of your career was that?
I'd qualified for World Juniors to go in Spain. So I've done my qualifiers for that. And I was trying to hit my first Olympic Games. So I was a couple of centimetres off my first Olympic Games. And yeah, I was competing and I was jumping these huge heights like that. My whole upper body was up and over like 190. It was well and truly over. And then just my legs would just keep smacking it, or I'd be kind of like up in the air. My body would sort of like not spasm, but almost spasm. I'd kind of forget what it was supposed to do. And then, yeah, I was like, why can't I jump? Like, why? It's just not working. Everyone's like, you are so fit. You're getting like such good height, but it just wasn't translating. And then, yeah, so I had to watch everyone, get selected for the teams, and then watching everyone compete. Like, I don't think I actually watched high jump. I couldn't do it. Couldn't stomach it. It's very sad.
So can you talk us through the surgery? What was actually performed?
So my tumour, it was located on my brainstem. So it was cutting off the spinal fluid. Yeah, the fluid from my spinal cord to my brain. And when I went in initially, when I was first diagnosed, they told me that I was possibly like a few days out from actually dying. So I got put into ICU immediately. I was being checked every hour on the hour, around the clock. They said if any build-up happened, they'd have to drill a hole into the top of my skull to release any fluid. Within a week, I think it was about 5 days actually, I was being wheeled into surgery, and they kind of went in just up through the back, kind of sliced me open, opened it up, drilled my skull out, took it out, went in, did their thing, and then patched me back up. Yeah, I had a shunt in the back of my head for, I think it was about a week or so. I forgot about the other thing I was going to say. There was something else. I forgot.
Whilst you mentioned that, so and that is one of the side effects that you've noticed recently. You were saying the other day that you could be speaking and then just all of a sudden you just absolutely forget what you're talking about.
So my mum's an exercise physiologist, and she's very much into fitness and your body and how everything responds and translates. And now I have basically a hole in my head. It's the size of a baseball, just in the back of my head. It just feels like with fluid. It never actually closes back up. And we think that there are a few things that are related to the tumour. Like the right side of my body is a little bit slower, especially when I get if I'm nervous or anxious, like my right arm just starts shaking uncontrollably. I could it's lucky I'm left-handed. So if I was like this, I'd be like
cutting a steak at night isn't great too.
Yeah, the amount of times so when I first got out, my surgeon was like, you should try and do daily tasks using your right hand. I remember being like, I'm going to carry my spaghetti with my right hand. Walked out of the kitchen at home and it just went everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Or trying to do mascara with it. I poked myself in the eye so many times. Yeah.
Can you talk me through, so as you've just mentioned, you went through surgery and then through a 3-month period of intense training, you went back to high jumping. Now, you just had this tumour removed from the back of your head. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when you high jump and you land, it's on the back of your head, right? So can you talk me through what it was like for the first jump?
It took me a very long time. Like, I mean, my training first started off as just walking around the oval. And then going from being like a professional athlete trying to make the Olympics to your training is to walk around the oval. It was kind of shattering and watching everyone else train. And I got there slowly. I like progressed from like walking to a jog to doing like walking drills to doing proper drills and then stopping. And it was a very slow progress. But I still remember the night I actually jumped. It took me a good hour and a half to actually like run up and jump. It wasn't even like a proper run. It was like a shuffle and then a little jump. And I think the first one I tried to not land on my head. I tried to like protect myself a little bit. But it was like the most amazing feeling. Like I've always loved high jumping. You just can't describe it. It's like you're just defying gravity and I just love it so much. But then in that moment, it was like, this is so special to be able to go through what I went through, to be like, I'm back. Like, I can do this. And, like, if I get back to the level I was at, great. If I don't, like, I'm still here. I'm still alive. And, like, I'm pretty well functioning. So I was very happy because I also had, not long after that, so I knew 2 people that were diagnosed with brain tumours. They were, one I used to train with, one was just a local boy. Theirs were cancerous and quite aggressive. And then not long after I got out of surgery, they both passed away, which was that was horrible to try and sit there and be like, well, why am I here? And like, why are they not here? Like, this isn't fair. And I kind of really wanted to get back jumping like for them because they really helped me through my recovery process and to like get me through hospital. Like they came in all the time and they would talk me through it. They were amazing. And yeah.
And so how have those experiences now changed the way that you live life today?
I definitely appreciate the smaller moments a lot more. I think even just sitting there having my coffee in the morning, like I like to have my coffee and just enjoy whatever I'm doing. But it's taught me to actually slow down because we're always so caught up in, doing the next thing or like, in the rat race. And it's just stop and just appreciate like what we have, like where we are. And just like, even just when I first got out of hospital, I remember walking out onto the grass and I cried. Like I bawled my eyes out when I felt grass in between my feet. I was like, we just take so much for granted.
I'd just love to take the opportunity again to thank you all so much for coming. One last round of applause for Amy Pejkovic and David Zaharakis.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.